Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another episode of Letter of Law Interviews. My name is Sarthak Bhardwaj, and today I am in conversation with Mr. Aman Kalra. He is a dual licensed lawyer. He's authorized to practice both in India and in Canada. He graduated in 2014 from Amity. He obtained a master's in law from York University, which anyone would know is one of the topmost law schools in Canada. And he is now working as a full-time associate at a law firm in Canada. Of course, there's a lot more to Sir's journey, which we'll talk in the course of this episode. And Aman has also very kindly allowed me to address him by his first name and to drop the sir,
Yes.
which is nice.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that.
No worries.
So with that, Aman, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for taking time out and speaking with me.
It was my pleasure. It is my pleasure.
Thank you. So to start this off, Aman, could you briefly introduce yourself to our viewers? Just talk a little bit about your law school journey and where you're placed in Canada right now, what kind of work you do, and anything that you feel our viewers should know about you.
So my journey as a lawyer, because this is related to law, my journey as a lawyer began at Amity University, as we spoke earlier on. And one thing led to another. I'm giving a brief synopsis so that you can ask me questions.
Sure.
I was studying at Amity University. I practiced as a litigator for 3 years in Delhi High Court, and I was also in the Supreme Court for some time. And then something, changed in my life. I was like, I need to go out and explore more. And I decided to go for my master's. And the world was our oyster, as all budding lawyers want to explore different countries. I was exploring US, I was exploring UK, Singapore, London. I was like, it was a very confusing option for me to pick something. And I decided to go to Canada because of their immigration laws. So my initial thought process was, if I go and do a master somewhere, uh, it should also the country should also give me the ability to utilize that master's, right? And that's why I decided on Canada. So, and I came to Canada, and I did not come on a PR, by the way. I did not apply for a PR. I was here as a student. Um, then I did my master's. I got into a very nice law school, York University, fantastic school, amazing professors. They taught me so much. In fact, I'm in touch with a few of them right even till now. It's been 5 years. And post that, um, I did my NCAs. I did not do my NCAs through my master's program because I wanted to study. I felt like a sponge. I was like, give me all the knowledge. I want knowledge. NCAs, I'll do it by myself. And then I was working in a law firm, not as a lawyer, while I was working as a law clerk. There's this firm called James Wilson Barristers. I was working there as a law clerk, and I did my NCAs. And post that, there was a crack. The crack was when the pandemic hit, and I was let go from my job. And I was like, this is the perfect time. I was like, yes, now I'm going to pursue all my barrister exams. Because I didn't have an option, right? Because there was pandemic happening and all, the turmoils of life was taking place. So I decided, मैंने decide किया basically कि ये time मैं utilize करूँगा और मैं अपने bar के exams लूँगा. And I'm gonna finish up fast, okay? I'm gonna try and finish up fast so that you can ask me more questions. So I cleared my barrister exam. Now, barrister exam, the licensing exams, they're open book exams, okay? So you have the book in front of you, you can find the answers and everything. Now, the funny part about open book exams, they're way harder, okay? People think that, oh, तुम्हें किताब खोलनी है, आंसर ढूंढना है, तो ये तो आसान होगा. They're I don't have words how hard they are.
Yeah.
Because तुम्हें वो आंसर मिलता नहीं है, तुम्हारे पास 90 सेकंड होते हैं. You know, try and open your book and find something in 90 seconds. That's not what a lawyer does in real life.
Yeah.
So, barrister, coming back to my original story, barrister, I cleared with flying colors. Nothing. I didn't even have to open the book.
Wow.
I became overconfident. I was like, solicitor be easy, hoga. It's going to be easy. You know, barrister was nice. Oh, I'm so smart. Blah 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 blah. I took the solicitor exam and I tanked. Within the first 30 minutes, I knew I'm not going to clear it. So I still took the exam. Right after that, I started LPP. So solicitor exam, LPP, for those who don't know, it's a law practice program. It's an amazing thing. We'll discuss it later. It's a training program that new budding lawyers need to do in order to practice law in Ontario. And it's an alternative to articling, although I feel it should be mainstream. Then I did LPP and then I cleared my solicitor exam. I studied hard. I pushed hard. You know, I took a few classes as well. They taught me the tricks on how to take the barrister exam. Oh, sorry, solicitor exam. And then I got my first job as a lawyer last year in Jan. And since then, I've been practicing law in personal injury and family law, but personal injury law is my forte. That's what I do.
Great. So बहुत कुछ है अनपैक करने के लिए और
Yeah, exactly.
और मैं शुरुआत से ही स्टार्ट करना चाहता हूँ. तो before we come to Canada, I think we should talk a little bit about your journey here in India. You said that you litigated for about 3 years here in Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court. Talk to us a little bit about that experience. And like you said, there was a switch when you realized that you must, you know, explore and go. I want you to elaborate a bit on that as well, as to, you know, because I think it's extremely hard to make a decision when you're already in litigation. It's 3 years. You're getting old also. You feel, oh my God, what's going to happen if I don't make it? I'm going to leave a practice out here. And in about 4-5 years time, India में usually लोग independent भी हो जाते हैं in their practice. तो आपने ये decision कैसे लिया और आपकी overall experiences as a litigator दिल्ली में कैसे थे?
So my experience as a litigator was pretty good. I was enjoying what I was doing. मेरे को काम करने में मजा आ रहा था. I was at a good office. It's something. Now it's really hard to explain. As you just said right now, something has to happen in your life that you feel that you're not satisfied. जब अंदर से वो feeling आती है ना, there is no way to explain it. I had always thought about going for my higher education at some point in time, and I would at a cusp, you know, एक fork आता है तुम्हारी life में कि तुम अब मैं 2-3 साल और practice करूंगा तो मेरी और practice build हो जाएगी. If I do not do that 2-3 more years, I can, right now is the right time if I want to explore life outside in a country, or you know, and come back. You know, that a lot of people also do that. You know, बाहर जाते हैं, masters करते हैं, they come back and they start again. So it just happened. There is no clear-cut answer to that, because it's not easy to get into a law school either. You have to put in the hours. You have to write a, you know, cover letter. You have to write papers. Like I remember I wrote a paper on drones. I don't remember it per se, but I wrote a paper on drones and they liked my paper that I wrote, a research paper. And that's how I got into. And imagine this, you're working 10 whatever hours, you know, a day, and then you take out time to write a research paper. And it's a full-time job to even get into a college. And so you have to be really motivated कि मुझे जाना है, मुझे ये करना है, and you know, forget about everything. If I get through something like this, like a good law school, a good college, you would want to take that opportunity.
Right.
So I initially, मुझे बहुत rejections आए from बहुत सारी universities. I got a lot of rejections, and then I was like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. Do I really want this? You sit down, pros and cons निकालो. Like this is pros and cons जब मैंने निकाले ना बैठ के, that is how I decided कि मैं Canada जाना चाहता हूँ. मैं US नहीं जाना चाहता, क्योंकि मैं US जाऊंगा मुझे problems होंगी. My staying in the country, I did not want to be a problem. I wanted my problems to be finding a nice job, finding how to excel my career. These are the problems that I wanted on my plate. मैं ये नहीं चाहता था मेरी नौकरी चली जाएगी तो मेरे को इंडिया भेज देंगे वापस. This is, you have to think about all of these things when you're. So basically, I took a decision because I made a to-do no, a checklist and a pros and cons list, and I made a 5-year plan.
Right.
कि मुझे क्या करना है, and I fulfilled all those 5 years. It's been 5 years I've been here. I fulfilled all of those things, but you need to, तुम्हें अपने pros and cons बनाने पड़ेंगे of why you want to go, and each person is going to have a different reason. Somebody is going to have a better work-life balance, better quality of air. I don't know. कुछ भी हो सकता है, किसी का कोई भी reason हो सकता है. I did not have a particular reason. I was like कि मैं इतने पैसे खर्चने जा रहा हूँ मास्टर्स करने के लिए, मैं उस पैसे वसूल के वापस आना चाहता हूँ. ये मेरा रीजन था. मैं तभी कनाडा चूज किया. The point was कि I'll finish my master, work for 1 year and come back to India. That was my plan.
Right.
And the alternative plan was I'll get a PR and I'll stick around if I like it.
Yeah.
That was my plan.
That's great. And thank you so much for sharing your journey. And as we proceed to talk about your life in Canada, could you in brief explain the process of becoming a licensed lawyer in Canada? From my research, what I got to know was this, that first of all, you have to clear your Ncaa, then you do a year-long articling, and then you write the Solicitor Barrister Exams, and then finally, you're allowed to practice in Canada. Could you fill in the gaps here and tell us what the process is for a foreign trained lawyer, especially an Indian lawyer who wants to become licensed in Canada?
Okay. So as an umbrella, you covered everything.
Okay.
There isn't anything missing. They'll all have their own nuances that you'll have to deal with. So for example, you apply to Ncaa. Now, Ncaa is going to take like 6 to 8 months to give you feedback on how many exams. They decide how many exams you have to take in order for you to be at par with somebody who has studied law in Canada. So usually what happens is, because I've also done it and I know a couple of other people as well, जिन्होंने apply किया था bar Ncaa के लिए, they give you 5 exams. Now, those 5 exams, I'll tell you what those 5 exams are. They are criminal law, constitutional, foundation, professional responsibility, administrative law. They're always going to give you these 5 exams. If they give you more, don't hold me, okay? Because my understanding is very different of how it works. All these 5 exams they are law of the land. They develop from the land. Constitution in India is different. Criminal law in India is different. For example, weed Canada mein legal hai, India mein illegal hai. So these are laws that develop from the people. That's why they want you to study these laws. And it makes perfect sense. They'll give you 5 exams. You take those exams, and then you are at par with somebody who graduated from law school from Canada. Okay. Post that, a lot of people have an option of, now as soon as you clear your NCAs, you can take your bar exams. There is no like barrier that तुम्हें अभी लेना है, 1 साल बाद लेना है, 2 साल बाद लेना है. you can do simultaneously. You can work, you can do your articling, you can do your LPP, and you can take your barrister and solicitor exams. You can do them all simultaneously. There are a lot of people who want to, like, don't consider it as a jog, but a sprint, and want to take it right away. I am of I'm old school. I was like, take it one step at a time. So that's why I split everything. मैंने barrister और solicitor के exam अलग से लिए and पढ़ाई वो अलग से करी, LPP अलग से किया. I failed at doing it because मैं solicitor में fail हो गया था, but then I had to club them. So um, NCA के मैंने gaps fill कर दिए. They're very easy. You need to just go online, look for study material, speak to somebody who's already taken the exams. There is a way how to take the exams and you'll clear it. It's very easy in comparison to barrister and solicitor. Post that, तुम कभी भी barrister and solicitor का exam ले सकते हो. The actual hurdle is finding an article. That is the most difficult thing that you will come across.
Before you talk about that, can you explain also what an articling is? Because I think viewers would want to know that.
So I'll give you a bigger picture. Articling is that you go to somebody who's more experienced and you tell that person, train me. That is what articling is. And it is a 10-month process. You go to somebody who has more than 4 or 5 years of experience. I don't have the exact number of years. And then that person has to be registered with the law society, and that person takes you under his wing or her wing, and they teach you whatever they know about law. That is what articling is. And usually what happens is that people specialize here in Canada. And so if you go to somebody who practices real estate, they'll teach you everything that they know about real estate. If you go somebody who does corporate, they'll teach you more things about corporate than litigation. So articling is a mandatory process. And because a lot of people who come from India, they have more experience, like 2-3 years of experience. Somebody like me, मैंने 2-3 साल इंडिया में काम किया, and then I decided कि मैं कनाडा जाना चाहता हूँ. So you have an option to abridge the articling process. You don't have to do it. But I would highly, highly recommend that somebody who's new, has 1 or 2 years of experience, should do it. There is a huge difference of how we practice law in India and how law is practiced here. I'm not going to go into in depth of how it is different, but it is way, way more stringent. You cannot, like, we don't have insurance in India. We don't, like to maintain my license, I have to shell out at least $5,000 a year.
Wow.
Which is obnoxious, I know. But just to maintain my license, I have to, you have to put in a lot of hours. You have to put in, there's a lot of money involved. So we'll not go into all of that. But yes, articling is something that you should do. And that is what articling is. Do you have a follow-up that stems from articling?
So Aman, like we were talking about articling in NCAs, with regard to the Ncaa exams, a lot of people say that, you need not do an LL.M for it. You can directly appear for the Ncaa exams right here in India. That'll save you some cost also. But on the other hand, people say that doing NCAs without an LL.M is later going to be a hindrance for you to get a job at a firm or with a lawyer, because the people who will be hiring you need to be familiar with you, and they need to trust you, and that will only come if you have a degree in their country. What's your take on the Ncaa exams with or without the LL.M?
That is such an amazing question. I cannot express how many people reach out to me on LinkedIn. They're asking the benefits of doing a master's or studying in Canada. And I cannot express enough that it is so important to study something in Canada, I'll try to break it down. Okay, as you, there are two types of people. One who actually want to practice law, and two who want the degree.
Mm.
So people who want the degree and you know do not actually intend to practice law, उनके लिए NCA करना and education route पे जाना is, it's सिर्फ education करना, so सिर्फ NCA करना better. People who actually intend to practice law and go to courts, socialize with other lawyers and blah 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 blah, things that you do in India, like तुम जाते हो दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट में और lawyers से मिलते हो, सारा कुछ करते हो, and you're doing all these things. उनके लिए पढ़ाई करना is very important. I'll tell you why. Again, you, as you're studying law right now, Sarthak, do you know how many friends you have? There are a gazillion friends. Like you
Right.
have, you're going to create a mesh. That mesh is going to go out in the world, and they're going to they're the next generation of lawyers. They're going to be successful people in their lives. Some of them, they might decide they don't want to do law. Some of them decide कि हम किसी corporate में जाना चाहते हैं, हम अपने dad का business join करना चाहते हैं. XYZ. You'll meet so many people with different ideologies, with different mindsets of what they want to do. The people who choose to practice law are going to become your best friends, and they will be successful lawyers in the future. You are going to be in their network, and they are going to be in your network.
Yeah.
That is what you want to achieve. If you are a single person army going against an uphill battle, it's going to be very hard. You build your army with education. It's people who have the same struggle, people who are trying to achieve uh, um, these barriers to entry, people who are who are experiencing, who's facing the same hurdles as you are. They become your best friends, and then they again go out in the world, and somebody is doing much more better than you, and you are not, you, or probably you might be doing better than other people. Then you become the support system of each other, and you help each other excel in life. This is called networking technically.
Yeah.
Right? This is networking. This is the core basics of networking. It starts at law school, and then you evolve and you start making more friends, and you start making more, start, you professional relationship build hone shuru hote hain. वो education से शुरू होता है, and that is why I feel that education is the most important thing. I'll also lead to LPP through this. LPP is the same thing, कि वहां पे तुम और लोगों को मिलते हो जो who are doing the same struggles, same problems. They're trying to become a lawyer. Then you build relationships with those people. And right now, again, I'm friends with people who are in my law school. I'm friends with people who are in my LPP program. They reach out to me. Some of them practice in immigration law. Some of them practice corporate. Some of them, I can just pick up the phone, call random lawyers up. For you guys, it's going to be, I'm calling random people up. For me, I'm calling my friends.
Yeah.
I'm calling my colleagues. You need to build that. That is the purpose of education. So,
Right.
so when somebody chooses to go through the education path, education never goes to waste. But ultimately, it will give you what you want to achieve. You have to suck the benefits out of it. वो एक प्रोडक्ट है जो कि तुम्हारे को एक स्टेपिंग स्टोन देता है, बट उस स्टेपिंग स्टोन को तुम कैसे यूज करते हो वो तुम्हारे ऊपर है.
I get it.
Right?
Right.
So to all, everybody and anybody who's watching here, if their actual intent is to practice law for the rest of your life, go through the education path.
Right.
Because to 30 years down the line, are you going to look back and say, oh, मैंने जो पढ़ाई करी थी वो गलत करी थी, नहीं करनी चाहिए थी, right? It
Right.
is the first 4-5 years जो कि तुम्हारे को लगता है कि मैंने सही किया नहीं किया. After you pass out through law school, nobody has ever even asked me कहाँ पढ़ाई करी थी तुमने.
Mm.
आज तक मेरे से किसी ने नहीं बात करी कि where did you study. Like it doesn't matter in the professional world. It doesn't matter.
Right.
What matters is कि तुम काम कर सकते हो. How good are you? How professional you portray yourself. Are you good to talk to? Your personal skills. Soft skills are the key to success. I'm not going to go into all of that, but yes, yes, education is a must. मेरी नजरों में.
That's great. And now that we are on the subject of education and LLMs, Aman, एक बहुत major question जो सबके दिमाग में रहता है is with regard to the cost. अब of course tuition cost तो हर university की हम website से देख ही सकते हैं. आप बता
Yes.
सकते हैं कि personally, क्योंकि you have experienced it firsthand, what was the total cost, of the LLM, of staying here, traveling, food, and everything else included? How much is it
It's
going to
very
cost someone?
expensive. I will tell you this. Sarthak is very expensive. Coming from a business family,
Mhm.
where I did not have to think. जब मैं ऐसे जा रहा होता था ऐसे तुम इंडिया जा रहे हो तुम इंडिया में रेस्टोरेंट जा रहे हो तुम सोचते नहीं हो ठीक है तुम कहते हो ओ चलो खान मार्केट चलते हैं खाना खा लेते हैं ये कर लेते हैं वो कर लेते हैं चिल करते हैं.
Mm.
Dude, life changes. It humbles you.
Yeah.
Itni expensive hai. So education, let's keep education separate because it depends upon तुम कौन सा कोर्स कर रहे हो डिप्लोमा कर रहे हो blah 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 blah. It all depends on that. तुम PR पे आ रहे हो तो it's going to be cheaper. तुम student पे हो तो it's going to be higher. Living cost is one of the most expensive thing that happens in Canada, especially rents. Rents are very high. Um, uh, I would say you need at least to have a nice, comfortable lifestyle. You need 1,500 Canadian dollars per month. It's not possible. It's not possible as a student.
And how much is that in Indian rupees?
It's 1 point. I would say it's approximately 1 lakh. Approximately 1 lakh
All
per
right.
month.
Wow.
Now you will still not be able to have fun. मैं ये bare minimum बता रहा हूँ तुम अपनी रोटी खुद बना रहे हो you're going less out तुम अपना rent pay कर रहे हो so even if you share accommodation with somebody it's going to be about $600-700 if you per month for rent. Now another $600-700 for your phone bill, for your travel expense, for your food, and even then it is less money. Because such truth be told, no amount तुम किसी को जितने मर्जी पैसे दे दो वो कम होते हैं ठीक है ना तुम मेरे को you give me $5,000 as salary I'll be like oh 6 होता ना तो बहुत अच्छा होता 6 मिल जाते मेरे को किसी तरीके से it's like we're in a rat race. But as a student I think having around $1,500 you should be able to make it work because uh, it's they expect you to make it work. If you work on minimum wage, which is approximately $15, as a student you can work 20 hours a week, and that boils down to $1,200 to $1,500. So the whole concept is you should be able to make it work. तुम part time अगर काम कर रहे हो, so if you work like now you do the math, okay? I suck at math.
Yeah,
Okay,
me too.
$1,500 into 12 आप हिसाब लगा लो कि that's how much you need for living expense. And if you have more, that is, you'll have more fun. If you have less, life is going to be tougher.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
But you can make your ends meet. Like I worked as a bartender. ये मैंने बताया नहीं है in conversation. But when I was when I was studying, I worked as a bartender. I didn't work as a food taster, but I found छोटे gigs, like फटाफट जाऊं $20-50 बनाऊं 1 घंटे में और निकल जाऊं किसी तरीके से. I did these things as well to sustain myself because although I did have savings from my 3 years of working as a lawyer, but they're not comparable. Like you're making in a developing country, you're earning, and then you come into a developed country, like the expenses are so far apart. Like, and especially Canada में ना कुछ बनता नहीं है. Everything is imported in the country, so everything is expensive. Like मैगी मसाला मुझे इतना पसंद है ना, मैं मैगी मसाला यहाँ पे मुझे मिलता है मैगी मसाला 50 सेंट का. So that's like I don't know 30 rupees.
Wow.
35 rupees. And वहाँ पे 5 रुपए का प्रोडक्ट है.
Yeah.
So if you know anybody who's coming from India, I was like, get me magic masala, Maggi masala. So it's expensive. It's an expensive country.
I understand.
Yeah.
So अब इसी से regarding हम next stage पे अगर चलें, which is the articling, and like you said, finding an articling position can be incredibly difficult. So my question here is in two parts. The first part is, how should one go about looking for an articling position? As simple as that. And secondly, and this is a bit more long winding, articling आपको किसके साथ करनी चाहिए? आपको किसी फर्म में करनी चाहिए, या आपको कोई इंडिपेंडेंट लॉयर है कनाडा में उसको ज्वाइन करना चाहिए? एंड स्पेशली एज इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स हमें पता है कि अगर आप यहाँ इंडिया में किसी को लिटिगेटर को ज्वाइन करते हो तो सैलरी जो भी होती है वो पिटेंस ही होती है, at least in the initial years. Is the situation the same there? So just a broad overview of articling, whether it pays or should people even accept unpaid articling positions, and all of those things.
So just to make it easier, can you repeat the first half of the question and I'll address that, and then I'll address the second.
Let's take it one by one. Simple, the first and foremost question, कैसे ढूंढे आर्टिकलिंग पोजीशन जब हम नए नए आए हैं कनाडा में और सिर्फ एक LL.M करी है हमने?
So articling ढूंढना इसलिए मुश्किल होता है because what happens is law firms usually hire people 1 year in advance. So, for example, you come into the country. Sarthak has come into the country. You get done, and तुम्हें articling ढूंढनी है. You get done with your NCAs. Now you have time right now, but the law firms have already hired 1 year ago for right now. So if you are looking, so you will find articling. Technically, you will, but it's going to be 1 year ahead. So you need to be willing to put in, like, take that 1 year's time and find a way to make it productive if your only intent is to do articling. And अब ढूंढते कैसे articling? अब मैंने तो देखो मैं ऑनलाइन जाता था और मैं जहाँ मुझे जो कुछ एक दो लॉ पोर्टल्स होते हैं जहाँ पे you can find articling, and like I cannot remember the names, but something related to law, like their law portals, law society के जो licensed law firms होती हैं, they post things over there, the placements over there, and then you apply for those articling positions, and there is a window कि यहाँ पे इस time frame में articling की jobs open होंगी. So you will be technically competing with people who have graduated from Canada. So if you intend to do articling, there's a window, and you can also find articling outside the window. And like I was cold calling, I was like, I'll pick up the phone, call up law firms. I was like, reach out to people on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is your best friend. I think you and I also connected over LinkedIn.
Right.
Yeah, LinkedIn is your best friend. Try to the only, if you reach out to somebody saying that मुझे articling दे दो, that will never turn into an articling position. If you reach out to somebody and explore life, explore law, have an interest in what that person is doing, that person might be able to guide you. Follow those steps that person is guiding you, and that's it's a domino effect. One thing leads to another, and sooner or later you will find article. There is no set path for people who are coming from a foreign country कि ये follow कर लो तो तुम्हें articling मिल जाएगी. Everybody is going to have their own journey.
Right. So, and the second part of this question was, what is more beneficial in terms of articling, joining an independent practitioner or trying to get into a firm?
So independent practitioner might be a good thing for some people, and joining a firm might be, it's a different sect of people, like thought process different. If you join a person who has a solo practice, your intent should be to build your own practice at some point in time, because that person will not be able to afford you. Lawyers are very expensive. And and with time, if you don't build your own practice, then there's going to be a cap on your pay. You will only make as much money as you can, that the lawyer that you're working with can pay you. And if your intent is to just work and not build your practice, then you should go with a bigger firm. People
Right.
who have, it's called building your books. If even for big firms, you might become very expensive for them at some point in time. Like imagine a scenario कि 5-10 साल निकल गए हैं, you're making 250-300,000 dollars, but you don't bring in business. It depends on business to business, but
Mm.
my understanding is that at some point in time you're going to become too expensive unless the law firm is so big that they don't care.
Mm.
Like if you go into a place like Deloitte, PwC, blah 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 blah, like the big four, they're very big. They don't care if you bring in business. You're just a piece of the puzzle for them, right? उनको नहीं फर्क पड़ता if you bring in business. And पड़ेगा भी तो, like I think जब तुम बहुत partner stage पे पहुंच जाओगे तब पड़ेगा. But smaller firms, I think it starts bothering them way early. So you have to pick and choose what your direction is going to be for the future,
Right.
where you decide to go, and us hisab se you have to pick and choose. And you can also use stepping stone one as a stepping stone and jump onto the other, or the other vice versa.
Mm.
You can, because the point is to get your foot inside the door.
Right. Right. Right.
जैसे ही तुम लीगल इंडस्ट्री में घुस जाते हो, it all boils down to your caliber and potential.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we've covered NCA, we've covered articling. Let's also talk a little bit about the main issue, which is the solicitor and the barrister exam. तो आप पहले हमें ये बता सकते हैं कि दोनों में फर्क क्या होता है in terms of the exam, and then we'll talk more about the approach to it.
Barrister, overall picture. Barrister is a litigator. Solicitor is somebody who doesn't go to court,
Right.
does
Right.
corporate work, right?
Right.
So दोनों में laws का difference है. One is going to cover examination of discoveries, how you're supposed to deal with other, I mean, that's for solicitor also, but court procedures,
Right.
timelines, like my limitation periods, XYZ, like this is like litigation, this is procedural work. Solicitor is like purchase of properties, wills and estates, corporate work, and it's very different. They're poles apart from each other when it comes to how you work with these kind of laws. This is barrister is you're butting heads with other counsel. You're fighting, like boom, 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 boom. तूने ऐसे कैसे किया? तूने ऐसे कैसे किया? And here, people want to work together, more or less. More or less. I mean, they can fight, but like, let's say real estate falls under this category.
Right.
You want to sell your house. Sarthak wants to sell your house to Aman Kalra. I want to buy your house. We are friends. This is how this law works. We both want to seal the deal.
Right. So
right.
I understand that. So if someone wishes to, just do this sort of corporate advisory kind of work, can a person start gaining employment in a firm or at a similar place after just clearing a solicitor exam? Or to be a lawyer, you need to qualify both?
Yeah, if you want to be a lawyer, you need to clear both exams.
I see.
Period. You cannot call yourself a lawyer if you've only cleared one exam. That's the basics of becoming a lawyer in Canada.
And there are also positions like paralegal, there are law clerks. Do they also need to be qualified, or can they start or can people obtain those positions earlier?
So paralegal is a licensed process
I
or
see.
professional. You cannot become a paralegal. You can call yourself a paralegal, but there are restrictions that are placed upon paralegals, and if you're not a paralegal, you shouldn't call yourself a paralegal. And that's like a lawyer calling themselves a lawyer without having a being a lawyer,
Right.
actually being a lawyer,
Right.
right? So that's not allowed. So similarly, paralegal nahi hona chahiye. Law clerk, on the other hand, there are schools जो कि law clerk programs कराते हैं, and you can anybody and everybody can become a law clerk. It's not a licensed professional. Law clerk and legal assistants. I worked as a law clerk, and I had a very good time. मुझे बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला from a point of view of how to write emails, how to coordinate with people, how to be professional, how things work, how a law firm works. So I think it was a great experience for me because lawyers look good in front of other people because of their support staff.
Hmm.
If things are not falling in place, lawyers will look bad. And हर कोई यही कहता है इस लॉयर को कुछ नहीं पता, जबकि तुम्हारी डिस्कवरी पीछे स्केड्यूल नहीं हुई होती, एक दिन पहले तुम्हें पता चलता है और कोई तुम्हारे कैलेंडर में एंट्री डालना भूल जाता है. So गलती किसकी है? लॉयर की गलती है, because it doesn't matter who's behind you, but a support staff makes or breaks a lawyer.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
having qualified the solicitor and barrister exam, let's say a person, the NCA is done, the articling is done, they've managed to become a licensed lawyer after a lot of hard work. How
Yeah.
easy or difficult is it to find a job?
Very good question. I would say it is very tough. And it is an understatement of me saying it is very tough. Because think of it from an employer's point of view. Okay. They have two applications in front of them. One is I have 3 years of experience. Aman Kalra has 3 years of experience, came here, did masters, now calls himself a lawyer and wants to practice in your firm. The other person studied here, has experience, has worked at Walmart, has worked as a call representative at Canadian Tire, Amazon, had a previous life where he was a different practiced something else and decided at the age of 32 that I want to do law. तुम किसको choose करोगे? You're the person who wants to hire. Tell me, Sarthak, दोनों में से किसको choose करोगे?
Yeah, it's a tough choice.
It's a tough choice. So how hard it is going to be to find a job? You have your answer. The answer is it is going to be extremely, extremely tough. That is where I go to this original answer that working is the key to everything. If the employer जिस बंदे को hire करना है उसको कोई तुम्हारा network बोलता है ना कि I have faith in this person, call this person for an interview, you will get an interview, and that is your way inside the door.
Right.
And the moment you have an interview, if you're good to talk to, if you're knowledgeable, if you can befriend the person who's in front of you, you will get the job. मैंने अपनी 5 साल की मेहनत इस सिंपल सेंटेंस के अंदर समराइज करी है कि हाउ टू गेट अ जॉब, बट द आंसर इज इट्स वेरी टफ because you have to build the confidence, you have to go and network, you have to reach out to people, you have to go out for coffees, you have to befriend them, you have to understand unke interest kya hai, you have to be interested in the thing that you're talking to them. If you're like, मैंने एंटी मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग करने की कोशिश करी, मुझे कुछ समझ ही नहीं आया, मेरे को समझ ही नहीं आया मैं हाउ डू आई एंटर द एंटी मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, एंड दे वर फेल्ड अटेम्प्ट्स फॉर मी. आई मैंने कोशिश करी कि मैं किसी तरीके से कॉर्पोरेट साइड में जाने की कोशिश करूं, दे वर फेल्ड अटेम्प्ट्स फॉर मी. देन आई हैड टू बी ट्रू टू माई सेल्फ. आई वाज लाइक मुझे बैरिस्टर लॉ पसंद है, मुझे लिटिगेशन पसंद है, मेरी पर्सनालिटी ऐसी है जो कि मैं एक्चुअली कोर्ट में जाके खड़ा हो सकता हूँ, एंड पसीने छूटते हैं मेरे, अभी आज तक भी पसीने छूटते हैं मेरे को. आई फील नर्वस बट आई कैन एक्चुअली गो एंड आर्ग्यू. So I had to be true to myself, and that's how I started finding jobs. I and that's it. Rest is history. You need to figure out what your forte is and move in that direction. Use it to your advantage, and you'll start finding jobs.
I hear that. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing your journey. And the next very important question that I want to know from you is, and of course, I don't need you to put a specific number to it. If you can put a broad range, how much will lawyers generally earn once they end up getting a job? Because if I don't think the standards of India would apply to Canada, we know that, okay, some firms in India, some firms, the big firms might pay you really well, but then the associates are expected to work 24/7. And in litigation also, well, there are really no hours as such. So एक तो ये हो गया कितने आवर्स आपको काम करने पड़ते हैं और सैलरी कितनी हो जाती है एक वकील की कनाडा में, क्या वो अपने आप को सस्टेन कर सकता है, और अगर उसकी फैमिली हो तो आप इसके बारे में प्लीज हमें बताइए.
So, if the concept of Canada is that they expect people to work, they expect every person in the family to work, because one person cannot sustain a family of four.
Right.
One person might be able to sustain a family of two, your husband, wife, but a family of four is going to be tough unless you're like really, really, well off in your career. But it's a simple answer. Agar main iska दूं, so I would say anything around 70 to 80,000 as a new lawyer, you should be able to make. And if you're not making that, I would tell you to aspire to make that in your first year. You're at the wrong place. It's obviously you should learn more, and so that you need to create a balance. You need to pay your bills and you need to learn. If you can find that balance and you're getting paid a little less, and your work is, you have a congenial environment, तुम्हें बहुत मजा आता है ऑफिस जाके, तुम सुबह उठ के नहीं बोलते कि यार मेरा ऑफिस जाने का मन नहीं है, मुझे नहीं जाना, मेरे को अपने बॉस की शक्ल देखनी पड़ेगी, हे भगवान, you're at the wrong place.
Right.
If you need to balance the two. तुम्हें अपने bills पे करने हैं, अगर तुम्हें अच्छी पैसे मिल रहे हैं और तुम्हें ये वाली फीलिंग हो रही है कि मेरे को अपनी बॉस की शक्ल देखनी पड़ेगी, you're at the wrong place. तुम्हें कम पैसे मिल रहे हैं और तुम्हारा बॉस अच्छा है, I would say it's a good place. Because with time you will eventually start making money, but make sure that जो वो less पैसे मिल रहे हैं वो इतने less नहीं है कि तुम अपने rent नहीं pay कर पा रहे, तुम bills नहीं pay कर पा रहे. So even like I would not take anything less than 60,000. If I were to redo everything, I would not take anything less than 60,000.
And that's 60,000 Canadian dollars, right?
Canadian dollars.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes. 60,000 Canadian dollars, and this is less. According to me, this is less.
I see.
You should make anything between $70,000 to $80,000. That is where you belong.
In the first few years, at least, of your induction.
First year or two, not first few. I would say first 2 years. That is what you should be making, and with time, it should cross 100. And if you're building your own practice, it should cross 200, 300, because sky should be the limit.
Yeah.
Make $500,000.
No, for
if
sure.
not $1 million.
Yes, absolutely. Moving on, there's another very important question. So, Aman, now you are working in a law firm. I'm sure you go to courts as well. And as an outsider, my general impression is that law in Canada, in US also, it's a very white collar profession. It's sort of like an elite profession. And in England, it's also called, a rich old boys club where the entry to outsiders is restricted. So as an Indian person, what has your experience been in a profession that is so, elitist? Have you ever experienced racism, soft racism? Have you ever felt that I'm not being taken seriously, or because of who I am and where I come from? Any of those experiences?
So my answer is going to be yes, but the truth be told, it depends on your personality, how you overcome those things. I have a very, very aggressive personality. When it comes to, I'm soft, but I'm aggressive. So if I feel that there is something that should not be done, I point it out. I deal with it. I I tell them that I don't tell them anything. It is with time, with experience, people understand. It is a very difficult question what you have asked. Okay, the answer is going to be yes and no,
Hmm.
because but I've never come across a country. I've traveled enough to know this. But I've not come across a country which is so diverse. So the landscape is changing. Yes, you might feel that there is racism, but most of the time there isn't. There isn't racism. So can I assess that one time or two time or three time as my to give you an entire picture of,
Hmm.
oh my god, there is racism? No. The bar that I'm a part of is a very, very accepting, um, congenial. People are helpful, and once you become a lawyer, you are a part of something bigger.
Hmm.
You're not a part of that. Oh, you're a different outsider who became a lawyer. You you're a Canadian lawyer. Once you become a lawyer.
Yeah.
But trust me, you need to earn that respect. You need to put in the hours. यहाँ पे कोई इतना पुश नहीं करता तुम्हारे को, जैसे इंडिया में पुश करते हैं ना लॉयर्स तुम्हारे को कि तुम मेरे लिए काम करते हो, अब तुम्हें you're my you are going to work for me and you work for that person to prove yourself to that person. You're working here to prove yourself that you're worth it.
Yeah.
तुम जितना एफर्ट डालोगे उतना ही तुम्हारा you'll reap the benefit out of it. So yes and no.
Yeah.
It's a very tough question, though. It's a very, very tough question because people have different experiences. I've experienced racism, but I'm like, भूल जाओ इसको. Like, this is petty.
Yeah.
You cannot. We're in a global world. We're in a global society where something happens in China and the whole world
Hmm.
stops. You know,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. No, but I agree with you. Given that there have been a few strange incidents, doesn't mean that the entire experience is going to be full of those
Exactly.
unfortunate things. And also, I think if you compare the legal profession with places like England or USA, Canada is still one of the best bet. And
Yeah.
on that topic, after one has a job, one has the relevant licensing, is it easy and a smooth process to get the PR? Because I think ultimately a person who has moved to Canada to become a lawyer would want a PR, because without it, it'll be tough.
So, yes. For me, it was easy because I had years of education and I did my master's. I had the work experience. So, express entry I had a good score. Like, whoever is doing immigration,
Yeah.
like, want to come into Canada, they might be on top of all of this. So, मुझे लगता है कि it's starting all over again, the express entry, pretty soon, like June, July. Mein. But um, it is you have if somebody is not coming on a PR, they need to have that sorted out first. That's the only advice I can give you because सबकी journey again different होती है. मैंने education path लिया, उसके अंदर मुझे points मिले. कोई
Hmm.
education नहीं करेगा उसको उसके points नहीं मिलेंगे. If you have a sibling, उसके points मिलते हैं. So it's a it is a nuance that you need to resolve so that you can focus on your career. So I would say कि, figure it out. If you need professional help, go to an immigration lawyer or a consultant so that they can help you out. But if you don't get it out of your way, again, the same problem is going to happen. कि you will be worried कि मैं India जाना पड़ेगा.
Hmm.
Then how are you going to? And then you will be living two lives. Like I
Hmm.
only go to India for a holiday.
Yeah.
You know, I don't go to India waiting कि मैं किसी तरीके से वापस कनाडा आऊँ.
Hmm.
And मेरी
Right.
असली लाइफ कनाडा में, right? You need to थोड़ा सा streamline करने की अपनी life को जरूरत पड़ेगी, and the moment you come to Canada, life is going to be, it's an uphill battle. You will, everything is new. खुद कपड़े धोने पड़ेंगे, खुद खाना बनाना पड़ेगा, these are things. मैं किचन में नहीं घुसा था यार कभी अपनी लाइफ में, मैं कभी ऐसे नहीं हुआ कि ऑमलेट के ऊपर मैंने कुछ बनाया नहीं था, ठीक है, बाकी घर में मम्मी है, ये है, वो थे, एंड सडनली आई वाज ऑल अलोन, and I was doing everything. I do have family here, they helped me out, but I had to learn. I had to learn things that I hadn't done. And you, everything becomes your responsibility. From splitting responsibilities in India, like you will have family who will take care of things for you, and you have to focus on certain things. Suddenly everything falls on your head. And being resolving your PR is also your problem. To resolve that while you're at it, and you're good as new. First 2 years are the hardest.
Yeah.
You cross the first 2 years, life is going to keep getting better and better. Especially the snow. If you want to talk about the snow, we can talk about the snow.
Yeah. Now, now that we are coming towards the end of the conversation, let me come to the final set of questions. So, Aman, after having what I would call, after making it, becoming a licensed lawyer in Canada, getting a job, being fairly well settled, how would you rate life in Canada as a lawyer, and especially in comparison with India? What has your experience been so far?
मेरे बहुत सारे दोस्त हैं इंडिया में, ठीक है, मैं वो बहुत जूते मारेंगे but I've experienced both lives, and if given an option, I would do it all over again. I really like it. I like the culture. I like how everybody works. I like the segregation between life and work. I like all of that. India had its own benefits, but as a person, mujhe Canada and the life that I've been able to achieve here, I really like it. It feels more streamlined. It feels that I've built it. It feels that it and it also feels it has a lot more to offer.
Yeah.
For me, like there are a lot of people that I know who would come here, do their masters, and go back because they feel, again, you come at a fork in life where you say ki nahi, main India mein better tha and I want to go back to India. But every person has a different experience. My experience tells me that and I'm also bringing my family here, so like we are in, I've crossed my hurdles. I'm married now, my family is coming here, my brother is already here, my mom and dad, I'm trying to bring my parents here, and that's it. Like if I feel life is more slower here. You know what I mean? Like तो मैं वहां पे इंडिया में मुझे ऐसी फीलिंग होती थी कि लाइफ इज टू फास्ट पेस, कि तुम सारा टाइम काम कर रहे होते हो एंड यू डोंट गेट टू एंजॉय द लिटिल थिंग्स इन लाइफ. एंड हियर आई फील तुम सारा टाइम काम कर रहे होते हो एंड यू गेट टू एक्सपीरियंस द लिटिल थिंग्स इन लाइफ. So I would choose the little things over not choosing them each time.
And that's a beautiful thing to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And because Aman, I've already taken almost an hour of your time, I am
No
going
worries.
to come to the final question before we wrap today's conversation. If there's an Indian law student or a lawyer who's contemplating moving to Canada to kickstart their legal career, what would your words of advice, words of caution be to them?
My word of advice would be that turn your A game on. I tell this to everybody. Don't overthink things. If you think that something needs to be done, do it. Like, for example, should you apply for a small solo practice lawyer or a big law firm? Apply to both. Nobody's sitting here with a red carpet कि ओ जी सार्थक जी आएंगे और हम उनको नौकरियां देंगे और ये करेंगे वो करेंगे. It's for everybody. Everybody has the answer to every question within them, and because we have internet, we're living in a global world. You can just Google stuff. You're reaching out to people to motivate yourself, to know that whether you're headed in the right direction or not. But my only advice is any step that you take towards the advancement of your dreams and goals is worth it. If there is, you cannot say कि मैं ये नहीं करूँगा और मैं ये करूँगा, just because you don't have the option. You have to say yes to everything. Be the yes man. There was a movie Jim Carrey की मैंने देखी थी जब मैं छोटा था.
Right.
We say yes to everything. Why say कि मैं अभी ये नहीं करूँगा और मैं अभी I'll do something else at a later stage. Say do everything. You're at it's an uphill battle, and you never know what doors will open for you if you take the chances and the opportunities that come your way. Don't miss the chances and the opportunities. That's it. That's the only advice. Pitfalls are going to be, you get too comfortable. You'll get too comfortable because you come here, you start working here, you'll start making money, and you'll be like, yeah, lawyer कौन बनना चाहता है? मेरे को पैसे मिल तो रहे हैं. That's the pitfall, because life is comfy. You will make money. So don't fall in that pitfall, and that's it. Be ambitious.
Yeah.
Work for your dreams.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Aman. Thank you so much. And I think with this, we can come to an end of today's conversation. It was an absolute delight to be in conversation with you. Thank you so much for answering all my questions so comprehensively. And I'm sure all the viewers will derive great value from your insights. Thank you so much for your time.
It was my pleasure to be here, Sarthak. It was fantastic. I really liked talking to you. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Thank you.